What up, my fellow challenge lovers? Welcome to the Challenge Historian, where we dive deep into all things MTV's The Challenge, past, present, or future. If it's happening in the Challenge universe, we are here to document it. I am your host and dedicated Challenge Historian, Jacob Hollabaugh. Thank you so very, very much for joining me on this Wednesday, August 7th. Sort of the premiere day of Battle of the Eras. We are 1 week out from episode 1, but we do have the launch special airing tonight. I know, as usual, they are not promoting that fact very much, but it is happening tonight. Sometimes those launch specials are full-blown episodes, a la Spies, Lies, and Allies. Sometimes those are just more promotional material for the season, a la Ride or Dies. I expect the one tonight, given it's the 40th season, to be a lot of promo, somewhat like some of the clips they've been putting out of maybe the cast reacting to things of old, talking about former storylines that could carry into this current season. So I'm thinking, I'm leaning that's which way it goes, but we never know. We never know. It could truly be the first episode of the season. It could really be very important to watching and understanding the entire season to watch tonight. We will see when that airs, but for now, we are here to do our full season preview of Battle of the Eras. Yesterday, we dropped my quick interview with the one and only, the host of the challenge, TJ Lavin. Thank you. The response to that has been great. One day in, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. Was able to meet up and hang out with TJ Lavin for a little bit while I was in Vegas last week. So check that out. Before we get to the agenda for today's season preview, let's run through some programming reminders because a few are very important. And the first one is actually a question and a request from you all out there watching or listening. If there's any of you that can help me out with this, I would really, really love it. But next Wednesday, I leave to go first to London for 4 days and then to Paris for 4 days. So when episode 1 airs, I will be in London. When episode 2 airs, I will be in France, or Paris, France. And I have no idea how I'm going to watch this show. So if any of you watching or listening live in either of those locations and have an idea how someone just visiting, coming through, could possibly watch the show, please let me know. If any of you out there listening are used to doing the, VPN to use YouTube TV, to use this streamer, to use that, anything of that sort, please, DMs are open at Challenge Historian on Instagram is the easiest way to get a hold of me and help me out, because I do not know how I'm going to watch those episodes and when I'm going to be able to watch those episodes. I would really like to not have to wait until episode 3 to do a recap of this season, but that may end up happening. As for other eras programming, this is obviously happening right now. Season preview. We did the cast reactions a long while back. Those are still very much available and still very much relevant, and is a lot of stuff that we won't cover here today because we had covered it before. And then pending tonight, if tonight's episode launch special is more of a full-blown episode or really just deserving of a recap, we will put up a recap of that in the next 48 hours. Probably tomorrow on Thursday. Latest it would be out on Friday. If it's not deserving a recap, it won't get a recap. So that's your Eras programming schedule. After the first 2 weeks, by episode 3, of course, I'll be back. I'll be watching live with all of you and then doing the recaps immediately after on Wednesday nights like normal. As for the franchise recap series, it's not over. We didn't give up. We're doing it. We're finishing it. We're just a little bit behind right now with the travels and other things going on. So expect season 29 out later today on this Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the next 5 days after today, we have 10 seasons left. We will do 2 a day each day to get caught up, ahead, and finished with that, actually a day early if we stick to that schedule, which I am going to. So that franchise recap series, we will finish that up. It's been amazing. The response has been amazing. Thank you to all of those who have commented, watched, shared, talked about it, messaged me about it. It's been absolutely fantastic. If I have not gotten back to your messages yet, I will. I was just traveling. It was not less on Instagram, less checking messages. So there's some I still need to respond to. As for the agenda for today, for this season preview, again, we did the cast reaction before. That covers a lot of things. You can go back and watch it if you like. Today, we're going to do something a little different. There's 3 sections to what we're doing. First one, 40 thoughts on the trailer. Basically, a shot by shot breakdown going through the trailer. We'll watch it together. I'll throw it up on the screen and we will talk about anything and everything that comes to mind until we've hit 40. Then, second part, we're going to discuss the Eras Invitational, which is the first 2 episodes. If that sounds like a spoiler to you, it's been a part of their promo materials in some places, not others. I will explain, but I promise all public information about what the first 2 episodes of the season are going to entail. So we're going to discuss that. And then third and finally, 40 wishes or predictions for this season. I know this sounds like it's going to be hours and hours long. These will be very fast, very quick. Most of those, 12 of those are my 10 finalists and my 2 winners picks. So I know 40 thoughts on the trailer, 40 thoughts for wishes or predictions. Sounds like a ton, 2 long lists. You know I'm long-winded, but I promise this won't be too long of a show. We're going to get in, we're going to get out, we're going to get all the thoughts we need to out into the presses before the launch special tonight. So that's the plan for now. For the future, please, again, if you watch overseas, you're used to figuring out how to watch this show, not on cable here in the States, DM me at Challenge Historian on Instagram and help a guy out. I love you. I appreciate you. Let's dive in. Challenge 40, Battle of the Eras. I can't believe it's here. Let's talk about it. Here we go. All right, let's talk about this trailer. There's a lot to like. There's a lot to maybe dislike. There's a bunch of questions about this. We're going to go through it. I'm going to put it up on the screen next to me here, and we are going to discuss everything that we see in this and break it down very, very quickly. Some random thoughts, some that we might need to spend an extra second or two. Here we go. First and foremost, before we've even clicked play, the thumbnail is an image of bananas from Challenge USA 2, which is a freaking joke. As someone who makes a lot of thumbnails in his daily life and who, understands YouTube a decent bit, it's really bothersome that they can't use a thumbnail even from this current season. But I digress. Let's give that a pass, as hard as it may be, and let's dive into the actual content of the trailer. I love that they start with the stratosphere. I think it maybe should have been, there maybe should have been one shot of Road Rules All-Stars in here, maybe them doing the Zorbs in New Zealand instead of jumping off the stratosphere, but jumping off stratosphere is a great way to start this. Bananas backpack, 1.5 seconds in. Actually slower than I expected. Honestly, I thought 0 seconds in. I thought the first thing we would see is Bananas backpack. So they're getting that in there nice and early, as they probably should. Jordan versus Josh, tug of war elimination, getting a spot. Deserved. If you've longtime listeners know, I reference that a lot. I really, really love that elimination, but slightly surprised that it got a spot here in this quick little montage of a bunch of older moments, but not hating on it. Love it, love it, love it. And then we get our first cast member, CT. Of course, they lead with CT. Makes the most sense. I imagine we're going to be seeing a lot of him in this trailer and as much of him as possible on the season while he's there, especially not even just because he's CT in the challenge, but he's also coming off of he went out and won another show, one of the most popular ones going right now, Traders. So they got to put CT front and center. Totally makes sense. There's a car going off of a cliff. And people, thankfully, you can kind of tell. I've rewound this portion a few times just to make sure. Obviously, the person is pulled out of the car right before it goes off the cliff, but they still have a car going off a cliff. I have no idea what this daily could entail, but it's freaking amazing. And they're clearly pulling out all the stops for this season. CT looking, gotta say, the second time we're seeing him here, he's looking a little bigger. He has won like that before. He has won with the oversized dad bod, that just pure intimidation, size, strength. So he's won there before. We'll see if he'll do it again. Helmet names. At first glance, I was like, it kind of looks a little, I don't know. But then on second glance, I was like, you know what it actually looks like? It looks a little Duel 2 vibes, similar font to Duel 2. So I went from kind of not being in on them to kind of being in on them. We get this shot. This is the shot of the trailer in my book. This is Aviv. I think this is Aviv. I've really, really tried hard, and I think you can see the A and the V on the either side of the helmet to be at the beginning in the back, or the first letter and the last letter of the name. So I think this is Aviv, but either way, swing the arms, looking out on this cityscape. This is an unreal cinematography, okay? The challenge is taking it to another level here with this. Then we noticed some people wearing wristbands with a T on them. This shot of Bananas and Corey. Bananas, it looks like that's a T on the wristband there. And later in this trailer and in some of the other clips they have put out, we hear the word Target used a couple of times. So I'm guessing that is what that's for. Maybe this is a team captain sort of thing. There is just who's up for elimination, and it's only possibly one person. I'm not sure, but it does seem to be, this isn't the only spot. This is just the clearest one I saw that we're seeing these T wristbands that clearly signify something, probably something not good for the people wearing them. Theo and Paulie in a hall brawl. Would they just show us that? Is it this simple? Because it was Theo and then it was Paulie, and they're both wearing the same hall brawl gear and the same helmet at the same time. And it's obviously meant to make us think these two are about to face each other in a hall brawl. But would they just show us that matchup, or is there going to be multiple hall brawls and both times it's Era 4 participating in it? I'm not sure. If we see this hall brawl matchup, though, I'm super fascinated and intrigued. Obviously, Theo a lot taller and's got super duper strong legs, but Paulie's an absolute maniac beast. Getting lower in this can be a big thing. I don't know. This is a good matchup, if that is in fact a matchup that we're going to see. I've decided I like the blue helmets the best. They have the best color. All of them look pretty good, but I like the baby blue. I think it looks really great. I like those the best. Rachel, Tina, and Derek are sitting on what looks to be very cool looking steps. Tina's yelling, "How many people fucking hate you?" My best guess is that she is yelling that at Bananas. That's my best guess. I think that's something she would yell at someone like Bananas. And overall, I like the look of, like, is this the kind of the dais for either eliminations or for nominations or something? I don't know. I like the look of where they're sitting in general. I hope that is like a regular part of the house and not just some random place they are in one of the first episodes. Then I think the biggest shock of this entire trailer, and we see it a lot, but it was the first time we see it here. They brought back the Riot Shield game from Cutthroat, which is super duper unsafe. And honestly, this would have been the last thing. Like, if you were like, hey, they finally got rid of Hall Brawl. They were like, we can't do that anymore. It's not allowed. It's not very good. I'd be like, okay, I get it. But the thing I would think it has the least chance of being brought back, even less so than Hall Brawl or any of the other super dangerous things that they do occasionally on the show, is this Riot Shield game. I can't believe they're doing this, and they are clearly putting it in the trailer a bunch over and over the rest of the way through. We will be seeing this, and this game is insane. If you don't remember it from Cutthroat, knock each other, full teams, everyone gets a Riot Shield, just knock each other off of a platform. This is famously, Derek went like 1-on-6 in this and just gets the absolute shit kicked out of him, and is just the absolute animal that he is. It's super dangerous, it's super unsafe, and it's going to be amazing to watch. There's a lot of footage from other seasons in here. It wasn't just the thumbnail. We have seen All-Stars 4 footage, we have seen USA 2 footage, we have seen season 39 footage. We're seeing a lot of it. Like, what I get that you can't pull too much from the current season. You don't want to show too many things, but just make it a shorter trailer. It's okay. You don't got to put all this stuff from the other seasons. It's one thing at the very beginning of the trailer when you're showing a bunch of stuff from old seasons, but you kind of splice in some things here that are meant to look like, they're in the current season, when if you just stop and pause it, as I have done here, they're clearly not. The whole thing looks really physical. It's, is that just the best thing to show in a trailer, that it makes, the action, the physicality makes the most sense for a trailer? Or were we about to get a season that is very, very physical? Interesting question to ponder. There's 2 people in a boxing ring. There's tons of pads on those people, but it maybe looks like, and there's the smoke, or like the little puff of powder in the air. It looks like maybe this is Snapper. Could they be playing Snapper, the game? I think we saw this game first on, I want to say, one of the Rivals seasons, Rivals 1 or 2. I think 2. I remember Knight and Preston playing this and beating someone, but I also famously remember, I know I rarely bring this up, but Champs versus Stars, Bananas and Wes playing Snapper 1-on-1 in that. So I think that's the game we might be seeing here, which would be very, very fun. It was a cool game. There's twists at every turn, or reference to twists at every turn, which I just got to get over. I got to get over now. Obviously, that's going to be the case, and obviously, I need to just get over that. And every season I say that I have, and that I'm okay with it, and then every season I'm not. I want it to be simple. I want it to be straightforward. I want it to be one format. But It's never going to be again, certainly not for this season. There's a catapult flinging things. Looks like people running to catch said things. I'm in. That seems great. Elimination winners have power. We get our one kind of reference to any format things here. The target selection we referenced earlier, the target thing, the patches. I hope works kind of like captains, like back in the day did a couple of seasons where if your team wins, you get a prize. I would love to see prizes come back. And if you lose, you're up for elimination. And I like that at least this one, unlike, way back the first time, Gauntlet 2, once you were captain, you were always captain. I'm guessing this changes who the target is every single episode. Maybe there is some you can't be the target twice in a row type of rule. That would be good. Either way, interesting. And they at least leak, one little part of the format here. Then this looks like a gender reveal. I know it looks actually badass and cool and super fun and like one of those dailies everyone signs up to do this show for, but also, is someone pregnant again? Like, is this actually maybe a gender reveal? Can we please go one season without someone finding out that they're pregnant while filming and doing all of these dangerous, crazy stunts? Please and thanks. CT's on a stretcher, which means CT is fine, or they would not show us this, right? We're all in agreement there. They would not show us this if he was not completely fine afterwards. Let's certainly hope so. Corey's the best. That's all I have to say. He's popped up a few times in this trailer, and I just decided, Corey's the best. I hope he gets to be a stud athlete a couple times. I think we forget how good of an athlete Corey was coming into this house. He's only got to really show that a few times over, and I would love for him to get to do so here. Then we got Jenny. Jenny looks incredible. I can't believe they haven't had her back. She's been back as an alternate once or maybe even twice, I think, which is disrespectful in and of itself. I'm really glad she's here. She's looking great, looking ready to kick some ass. Naya and Kyland making out. I think that's Kyland. Okay, I'll take it. I like it. I want to see the romance. And then we get Olivia and Theo making out, which, if you follow anything on social, these two, I guess, first spoiler alert of the podcast here, these two are together. So right now in real life, and I wasn't 100% positive if it happens on the season or not, but clearly based off making out in the pool, it happens on the season. So we got some romance to look forward to. That's always good. It's hot and they have a great pool, which is also just very promising for the aforementioned romance and just for fun and shenanigans in general. We want a warm weather season. We want a great challenge pool. Bananas and CT are getting a lot of airtime at this point, which either makes sense because the Bananas and CT, or it means that one or both of them might not be there for very long. Who knows? Something else to ponder. CT yelling at his team. He's got the reputation to get away with a heated moment among his era like this. I wonder what the list of people in the house that fit that description are, though, because he's one of the very few that I can think would be, he's yelling at them in this moment for something that clearly, someone was like, let's do this. He said, let's do that. They did this, and this didn't work out so well. They should have done that. That's the situation they find themselves in. And so he's right to be like, hey, I was right. You were wrong. I'm frustrated. I'm just going to get that out. But I think he's one of... I honestly don't even know who else is on the list. It's basically like all of Era 1 is able to do this for each other because they can all take it and they all respect each other that much. Like on Era 2, I'm like, Kara, Laurel, Bananas, if any of them do this, did the other ones listen? If Paulie does this on Era 4, does the rest of his team be like, Paulie, shut up? If Jordan does this on Era 3, does the rest of the team be like, okay, we'll listen like the first time, but the second time we're going to be like, bro, leave us alone. You're not better than us at all of this stuff. Get out of here. Like who else has the respect of the whole house and of their team that this is a non-issue that they would kind of, let out their frustration like this? I think that list is very, very short, but I know CT is on it. Josh has a bloody nose. This is, again, the riot shield. So clearly the danger of it is very prevalent, and they have shown this now half a dozen times, and I'm very ready for it. I'm very nervous for that. This one bloody nose might be the least of our concerns by the end of this challenge, but shout out to Josh looking like a badass there. Jordan's cowboy hat made it. Thank goodness. Can't wait for Jordan. I mean, Jordan's fits have become their own kind of subplot of every season he's been on recently. And so for season 40, I mean, I'm sure he's pulling out all the stops. I cannot wait to see what he's got. Derek is crowd surfing. That is awesome. I can't think of a person better suited to crowd surf than Derek Kaczynski. Honestly, it's just amazing. There's a party that we see that crowd surf is at a party, and it looks like it's part of maybe the walk-in scene. Just please let them have fun. Please let them have fun this season. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. They're jumping off of a skyscraper, which is fantastic. Doesn't need to be complicated. Simple. How fast will you run and jump and get the flag works. I love a daily challenge like this. It seems very Rivals 1-esque, the first daily they did, where it was just the two people like hold the hands and jump over as many of the things as you can, but it's just, will you jump over out into the open canyon? I love that. It takes 3 seconds for each group. That's fine. That's great. It looks cool. It is fun. It's cool. The whole thing. The color scheme in 40-person poster. It looks dope. It looks incredible. The promo has been lacking, admittedly, for the big, unbelievable season that this is. But the original poster in the color scheme, in the title and everything, it looks really, really great. So hats off to that designer. And then the trailer is over, and we find out that they're still using the Mad Max style War of the Worlds 1 end video, which is a choice, as is having expired links on your YouTube channel, which is just back to the thumbnail. I know we're starting and ending here. The thumbnail, the end credits video that is from 5 seasons ago, the expired links on the YouTube channel. You click to go to any of their social profiles, and those are not the social profiles anymore. None of those links work. It's just a little unserious sometimes over there at HQ, but it is what it is. We've got 3 more. That was only 37 thoughts, so let's finish it out here. 38. This is all of this footage we just saw is from the Eras Invitational, maybe the first 1 to 2 dailies or limbs after that, plus footage from other shows. And that's expected. That's fine. You got to kind of only use stuff from the very beginning of the season. So, as much as we didn't go full sleuth here, if those that want to, could easily, when they show stuff from later in the season, it's like, wait, they're standing on the dais and there's only these people, or they're in this group now, or this, that, and the other, who's there, who's not. So I knew it was going to be like this, but just pointing out that it seems like there's a reason they show a bunch of the same things over and over. There's probably a reason they show footage from other seasons over and over. And it is that they don't want to give anything away. And I can respect that. Job mostly well done here. As for 39, who I didn't see, did we see Horacio? Did we see Katie? Did we see Nehemiah or Casey or Brandon or Jody? There's maybe some others on this list too that we didn't see. Like I'm a little nervous. I know I just said we didn't go full sleuth, but this isn't even like sleuthing. This is just like, I looked back at the cast list when I was done. I was like, wait a minute. I know there's 40 people. It's a lot of people to get into a trailer, but I feel like we truly didn't see some of these people. So that's not great. That might, I don't want that to cloud my opinions of predictions later that we're going to get to, but it may. And then 40th, good job by them. And good job by me. I just got 40 thoughts on a trailer. That was great. So that's your trailer breakdown. Now let's talk about the Eras Invitational. So the first 2 episodes of this season are going to comprise the Eras Invitational. If this sounds spoilery to you, you're like, how do you know this? I was legitimately going crazy last night when I was writing out this outline for this podcast. And I was like, wait a minute. The first thing I was like, wanted to talk about was like, I want to talk about this Eras Invitational that they're doing the first 2 episodes. It's something we can actually have some concrete, something to discuss, something to make predictions for. And then I went to like, okay, I need to remind myself what I'm even talking about here, try to pull up the new trailer, the new whatever. I was like, wait a minute, where did I see this? And then I truly had like 20 minutes last night where I was like, I am going insane. I made something up in my head. I vividly remember it, but I can't find it. It doesn't exist. It's not real. I made that up. I got to find something else to talk about on the podcast. And then finally I figured it out. And it was from the TJ's CBS interview. Him and a bunch of the cast did all kinds of, the real true press junket last week. And during his CBS interview, I'm guessing in some of the other interviews, they played this as well. It's just one of the ones that I happened to watch. They show a sneak peek of the opening episode, and it is TJ revealing 2 things. I'm going to reveal those 2 things to you now. I'm sorry if you don't want them revealed, but I'm sure this clip will start to make the rounds anytime today, honestly, on the actual social channels and things too. The first thing he reveals is that it's a $1 million prize pot, which honestly, I am a little upset about. Thank goodness it's at least $1 million, but it should be more. It should be more. It shouldn't be this big celebration that they're finally giving out $1 million again. Survivor does $1 million every season forever, and they should all honestly increase theirs at some point. All of them should. Have you guys heard of inflation? It's not that much money compared to what it was a while ago, and especially split amongst who knows how many people on this season. But at least it's $1 million. At least we could say that again. No more 250,000 and all that stuff. Second thing, though, that is revealed is the opening of the season is going to be something called the Eras Invitational, where a bunch of people are purged and eliminated. And it sounded like there was going to be 8 people, which to me seems like then they would make logical sense that there would be one man and one woman from each era that is eliminated. And to make your team, as they say in the clip, would be just 8 people instead of 10 people per team. And we're going to purging 8 folks right away, which I totally get. You got 40. It's a lot to put in a house. It's a lot to have cameras on. It's a lot just in general. It wasn't like we weren't going to have purges this season, but it is an interesting choice to start the season with such a large purge. Although I think that's what we did on Dirty 30, so we probably should have been expecting it. And it just works. I mean, it's still only going to cut us down to 32 cast members after those 2 episodes. So when you've got the biggest cast of all times, you start with a purge. And what is it going to be is totally up in the air. My assumption, and this is where it stops from that clip that you might not have seen, to just me pure speculation of like what this could be, how this could work. And that's what I really wanted to talk about. That's what sounded fun because we got something concrete to work with. I'm assuming it's going to be a kind of like a mini final, like a lot of all like start, stop checkpoints, almost like the All-Stars 4 final, but like miniaturized a little bit, where maybe some people will be, eliminated throughout, or some people will win their way in more or less. Like if everyone has to do the first thing and like the winner of your era is like, oh, you're on the team. Now the rest of you go to the next one and the winner of that's on the team. Something of that nature, where it's almost like a mini final with just a bunch of little checkpoints, and either someone eliminated every so often or someone making the team every so often, I think would actually work a little better. Or just like, here's your final times, your final scores, who's the lowest on each era, you're gone, goodbye. But I'd expect a little tiny bit of running, a little tiny bit of some strength or something, and then a lot of puzzles, a lot of silly stuff, and a little bit probably of eating as well. But really, I'm in my mind, all I can think of is the All-Stars 4 final, but just all the littler games that they played during it. Not as much of the big ones that it would be hard to produce. You're not putting 40 different people on the back of a car. That takes all day. But some of the sillier games they played that, making for 40 people or having 40 people do wouldn't take all day long. I think that type of stuff, I think trivia is maybe built into this one way or the other. It's going to be really cool. I think it's going to be really cool. And I think they maybe would be in partners at times, maybe individuals at times. I'm hoping it's basically individual. I would love if it was basically individual. And the more I've thought about, the first time I thought about it was when I just said it like a minute and a half ago. But the idea of, here's the thing, everyone do it. Best one that does it, you are on the team, and then we go to the next one, and best one is on the team. That actually sounds like the best format and way to kind of earn your way into the house versus just a loser at the end, losing their way out of the house. That's what I'm hoping for. And I'm going to now make some predictions based on my predictions there. My prediction of what it's kind of being a mini final. If that ended up being the case, who do I think is going to make the teams and who do I think is going to not make the teams? Let's go era by era here. And we're going to do a little mix here of both what I actually think will happen, but what I would maybe like to happen. Because again, all 40 cast members, love them all to death. They're the best. Wonderful. But we do have slight favorites and slight least favorites around here. So we're going to be honest about that. So era 1. Maybe there's running involved, maybe there's not. There very likely could not be. It might just have nothing to do with running. It might just be sitting and answering trivia questions. Who knows? But if there's any athletic element to it, on the women's side, Tina and Anissa are potentially looking to have the tougher roads, and I am just praying that Tina beats out Anissa and makes it into the house. And if we have to lose someone from era 1, that it would be Anissa. We've seen her tons and tons and tons compared to most of the other folks on era 1. So that would be good. And then on the men's side of era 1, the show really can't like afford to lose any of these 5. So this is going to suck that some of them that if I'm right, that if, and I think I am in the clip, he says like, you have to make your team, and doesn't directly say 2 people from each era aren't making it, but more or less seems to insinuate that. So one of these 5 guys from era 1 has to go. That sucks. I'm worried for Derek if there is the like solo puzzles math part, but again, maybe it's just the who wins each section gets in, and so you just have to be able to win something, and that would be better for him. I'm a little weirdly worried about Mark if his heart isn't totally in like eliminating all the other guys or eliminating one of the other guys. I don't want him getting wishy-washy, not giving it his 100%. I don't know. It's going to be tough. Era 1, I think Anissa and Derek are the 2 that are going to not make the team and be gone right away. Era 2, I'm worried for Aviv on the women's side. Just lack of experience. Hasn't done this in a long time. Doing all this silly, weird stuff. The experience, they haven't done any of it before, but the experience of doing silly, weird stuff with cameras in your face, does matter into how you perform. And then I'm also worried a little about Kellyanne if she were to get flustered early, if she would like, the first one is like a puzzle or something, and suddenly she's in her head a little bit. And, we've seen her go down. We've seen her performance, a high variance performer there. When she gets confident, when she gets on a roll, she performs with the best of them, but other times it can go the other way. And on the men's side for Era 2, I'm hoping there will be a running aspect. Let Derek show off again, as we finally learned in All Stars 4 that my guy can run. My guy can run with the best of them. So I hope he gets to show off there. I would be most worried about Ryan and Brandon. And so Era 2, I'm going to say Aviv and Brandon are the 2 that I think don't make it. These predictions, by the way, do not count as part of the 40 that are coming up. I didn't realize that. So I guess you're getting 48 total predictions or wishes for the season. Era 3, I think Devin and Jordan are fine. The other 3 on the men's side make me a little nervous for them. And then on the women's side, I think Amanda I'm the most worried for. She needs a partner. If this is all you get to be partnered for a lot of it, I think she's got a great shot. Otherwise, I think she might be headed out. So I will predict Amanda and Tony, I guess, are the 2 I'm thinking are headed home from Era 3. Era 4, Josh might be screwed if this is athletic based, which sucks because he got in such sick shape. My man is crushing it every day for years on end now. He is in incredible shape. And then he's going to have to be like, okay, but now do this little mini final contest versus Horacio, Pauly, Theo, and Kylan. It's just brutal. So not looking great for him. And then on the women's side, I mean, well, first off, Jenny's solid on puzzles, right? I hadn't watched Total Madness in a very long time, but like she dominated that Total Madness final, and there was plenty of puzzles in it, so I'm pretty confident there. But I don't remember. Maybe somehow, some way, she isn't good at puzzles, but she should be fine. Michelle should be fine. I think this really comes down to Olivia and Nerys in kind of a showdown, which would be amazing. Like, what if we got like a little one-on-one early season showdown of these 2 now former friends turned rivals? Be pretty wild. My prediction here, it hurts. I think Horacio and Nerys are gone. And I think it's shambles for the future of the franchise of like, wait a minute, we just lost our 2 stars. We just lost the 2 most beautiful people that we put on all the posters, that we make do all the press, and they're gone in the second episode. I think that's what happens. I certainly hope not, but I don't really want any of these people to go home. Certainly not right away, and we got to pick 8. So I think Horacio, Nerys, Tony, Amanda, Aviv, Brandon, Anissa, and Derek. That's the 8 I'm picking to not make it through the Eras Invitational, to not make it onto the official teams for the season. Let's talk hopes and predictions. And yes, as I said at the beginning, we're not doing like a full cast breakdown. I did that on the casting reactions. And so if you want that, go back and view that. But I didn't want to do it a second time. Again, there's 40 of them. It takes a long time. I'm already doing 2 different lists of 40 the second that we're about to start now. Hopes and predictions for this season. I've broken these out by eras again. Kind of by eras, era related hopes and predictions. So I've got 6 or 7 for era 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I've got two special ones about dailies and limbs that I would like to see played and brought back for this season, and then my finalist predictions and my winners picks. And so the ones that are related to the eras are either about those teams or those cast members or related to something from their era of the show that I would like to see. You'll get it as we go through. So let's do just that. And of course, we're starting with Era 1 because they deserve to. They're the OGs. They're the ones that kick this whole thing off. So starting the entire list off, I have made this plea before. I will make it again. I somehow forgot to bring, it's the number one thing I wanted to bring up to TJ when I chatted with him, but I forgot to. So, alas, pop culture bike jump. Bring pop culture bike jump back. I know later I'm going to give you a full list of dailies I would like to see brought back, but this one I have to give a special shout out first on its own. This was from Battle of the Sexes 2. It is trivia mixed with BMX bike jumps. And how is that not, how has TJ Lavin never got to host something like this? It wasn't even Dave Mirra that got to host it before. It was Johnny Mosley, who I love much more than a lot of you, it seems. But we didn't have either the two professional BMX riders get to do the trivia times BMX challenge. Bring that back. Second one, speaking of, I need at least a reference made to Johnny Mosley. An appearance would be amazing. I don't think that's going to happen, but like if we're this season's going to be a celebration of the whole history of the show. He only hosted 3 seasons, but it was still 3 seasons of hosting, and I think he was great when he did it, and I think it matters. So I think there should be a reference to him. I think there should be a reference to Dave Mirra, and then Mark's already there, so he maybe he can reference his buddy Eric as well. Third, roller derby daily. I'm going to end up, this is the last one. I'm going to double up on the daily challenge things. I actually forgot that I had done this on the list, but the roller derby daily, they did it on season 2. They did it again on season 13 in a different way. Let's put on the skates. Let's see them doing a roller derby. Fourth, they show the rest of the house, meaning Era 1. I hope Era 1 shows the rest of the house how to do a proper challenge party, AKA there's a theme. There's bouncers or fake bouncers. You got to get let into the club. There's games or, activities at these parties. I want to see a legendary challenge party. And I know the Era 1, the OGs, will be the ones to lead it and show the rest of the house, like, this is how we used to do it back in the day. Let's rewind the clocks a little and let's get wild and crazy in here. Please let that be a thing. Next one, celebrity cameos. These used to be the first 5 seasons of the show, there were so many celebrity cameos. They basically died out after that. Bring them back. Just one. Just give me anyone, someone. I mean, we know there's people out there that are big fans of the show. There's some really big names that are, we're not going to get Rihanna on the challenge. I understand she's not going to make an appearance, but give me someone, anyone, just one celebrity cameo would be amazing. Then give me an intro sequence. Let's bring it back. Survivor finally brought it back last season. Challenge, you can too. Give me a dope intro sequence for the season. Even if we only see it once in the first episode, I don't care. Give it to me, please and thanks. And then finally, some other references I want to see made for the Era 1. And there's going to be this wish for each of the eras. But I wish that there is a reference to Miz, Coral, Theo, Veronica, Susie, and maybe even some others on that list, Cyrus and others. I want there to be a lot of history in this. So whether it's a trivia question, whether it's them sitting around a house talking about challenge memories, whether it's them showing actual footage from old seasons of something happened, I want to see references to all of the folks that are not there that would deserve, would meet the era defining criteria. But of course, they could only have 40 people and some weren't going to do it. So for the Era 1 group, I really, really, really would love some small reference to Ms. Coral, Theo, Veronica, Susie, and Cyrus, and some others. Era 2 related hopes and predictions. TJ being there for nominations. This was the biggest thing at its biggest during Era 2. It was during Era 1 and Era 3 as well, and even a tiny bit Era 4, but then it's died out in most recent seasons. I want TJ in the room. I want him conducting the vote, conducting the nomination. I really, really like that a lot better than when he's on a video screen or when he's just not there at all and they're pressing a button or putting a ball in a hopper or anything like that. The more TJ, the better. Second one for Era 2, secret elimination. Just one. I know they're not going to get rid of, I don't want them to get rid of, the arena or whatever they're going to call it this season. I want the people to be there more often than not, but I would love one time just, in a nod to Exiles, one secret elimination. Though I mean, it worked so well on season 39. And again, I don't expect them to totally bring it back, but just for one off, maybe two, maybe a phase of the game, something where the house waits with bated breath for who's going to come back, who is going to have won said elimination one time at least. Give me that. Third, a draft. Please use a draft at some point this season, even if it's just one daily for teams. Preferably if they, partner up at some point of the game, there's a draft for that. Somehow, some way, work a draft or a bunch of drafts into this season, please and thanks. Fourth one from Era 2 related hopes. I hope that the Era 2 team is the most divided in working against each other. I think they can bring the most fireworks as a team divided. And are the ones that are the most likely in my mind to work well with other people from other teams. So, with Laurel and Kara on the team, I don't need to see reconciliation and we can be partners again. No, I need to see backstabbing and tomfoolery and maybe, working with the other side, Kara working with Paulie or Laurel working with OG, something of that nature. Bananas, of course, I want to see his whole team be like, nah, dude, not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. You're not our leader. You're not anything like, and he's very ripe to, he's got a lot of friends on a lot of the other teams. So I just want chaos with the Era 2 team. I want their team to be the one that's like, we're all free agents here. We'll work with anyone else not on our team. Next one, I really, really, really hope that Emily, Laurel, and Kara survive the Eras invite, which I think they all three will. And I want to just see just at least one. Don't ruin this before we get to see it. One single group daily challenge that is the full team working together and it's athletic based. And we get to see Emily, Laurel, and Kara working together and how much ass they will kick and how much better they will do than all the other teams, because that is three of the best female athletes we've ever seen on the same team. I just want to get to watch them actually like do something and do really well together one time, just to be like, holy shit, I can't believe those three are on a team. Like even that, like the Riot Shield thing, if that is one of the early ones, which I assume it is, and it's like a men's round and a women's round, which please make sure it at least has to be split up, men and women, right? When they do that, please and thank you. But like those three together in that'll be amazing. I just want to see those three working together and how dominant that trio could be. And then finally, for the Era 2 related hopes, I would like references to Wes, Sarah, Tyler, Paula, Landon, Evelyn, and DM, among others. The DM one, they did put out a clip yesterday, which is what made me think of, I hope there's references to other people and other moments of the show. It was a really touching one from the first version of the clip that they put out, that in the house, there is a picture of DM taking off the wig, that a lot of them then left comments on that. I'd encourage you to go look at that Instagram post about, a lot of us went and just, looked at this picture all the time for inspiration and loved that it was there. And they do really good, like Harry Potter-esque, like unbelievable editing in just this clip. And I'm sure throughout the whole season that, when someone's looking at a picture on the wall, suddenly it turns into the actual scene from whatever that is depicting. It's really, really well done. But in ways of that nature, or as I said before, just in little offhand comments, remembering different things, somehow, some way, I want references to all the people who would deserve to be there, would meet the criteria to be there, but are not. So for Era 2, that's Wes, Sarah, Tyler, Paula, Landon, Evelyn, DM, among many others. I'm not going to list 100 people each and every time. Era 3 related hopes. First and foremost, I really would like Jordan and Tori's relationship or non-relationship to not be a storyline. Do not make that a storyline, but I hope both of them individually are storylines, because I think a lot of both of them and I am interested in both of them and they're great cast members and characters. I just don't need anything that is about the two of them together. Okay, we can put that to the side and we can move on as individuals there. Second one, I hope the final involves climbing a snow-capped mountain this season, which really became a thing during the 20s of the show, the third era of the show. The final became, hey, we're going to go to some mountain somewhere and you are going to climb it, and it's going to be cold and high altitude and suck, but you're going to do it to try to win this money. I want the final here to be Patagonia would be the ultimate. We've done it a couple times. Do that again, maybe Iceland, but I want to see them climbing a snow-capped mountain for the final. Third Era 3 hope. Meals for the winners of the daily challenge, getting the ceremonious, winners meal, but I want that meal to be the pizza and cheap wine a la, like the Rivals X's era, where it'd be like, yeah, we got a little tiny table by the pool. Here's a couple slices of pizza. Here's a cheap bottle of wine. That is your winner's feast, if you will. I always loved that. I want them to bring that back. Then next one for this group, I really hope that Janae, Leroy, Amanda, and Tony all remind Corey he isn't the only one with kids anytime he tries to play that card. When he gets the kids out in pictures, I hope the whole group gets together. This team, I'm not 100% positive, because I'm not 100% positive who all, I might be missing some parents in this cast, but this team has 5 out of the 10 are parents, known parents, at least. It might be more. But I can't wait if Corey goes the child card route that he has a few times before, that half of his team is like, buddy, yeah, that doesn't win you much sympathy on our team. We're all doing the same thing here. I think that would be really fun. And my next one for Air 3, I can't believe these words are going to come out of my mouth, but screw it. I hope it gets really convoluted and brings on a redemption house. I hope there's a redemption house. I hope that they use a redemption house one single time, only once, and maybe they go crazy and they're like, we let like 16 people amass there before we reveal that it's a thing, and then we do a daily challenge in front of the whole house and like 4 of them get back in, but it's only a once and done. It's not like a repeated thing like it was on Dirty 30 or a couple other seasons after that, but we might as well. They're going to pull out all the format stops. We might as well do a redemption house. Next one for Air 3 related hopes. I hope they let Tony get far enough that he gets to eat something. I'm guessing there'll be some eating in the opening Eras Invitational. If not, make sure Tony gets through. Make sure Tony Time gets to show out one single time with the eating. And then final Era 3 related hope. Reference-wise, I hope Nelson, Ashley, Zach, and Nani, among others, get a shout-out or a reference at some point. It would be deserved. Era 4-related wishes and predictions. Michelle references that Survivor players are way better than Big Brother players and wishes she had more Survivor players instead of Big Brother players on her team, because there's a lot of Big Brother alums in this game, especially on Era 4. And Michelle, I think, is the only Survivor one, and I hope there's a quick reference to, those USA seasons we did, 4 Survivor winners there, and just Survivor seems to do better at this game when given the chance, and I'm the only one here. And also shout out to Michelle on season 40 of Survivor, on season 40 of The Challenge. That's amazing. Also, second shout out to Derek on season 10, 20, 30, and 40 of The Challenge, which is just unbelievable that someone could pull that off. So shout out to those two for those. Next one for Era 4 related hopes. I do hope there are mercenaries this season. Bring them in only once. My preferred picks would be Fessy and Sarah Rice. If you have to just use alternates, we know Fessy and Ruthie were there as alternates, so I would take Ruthie as the female in this situation. But if we could pick anyone, maybe Sarah's been holding in a huge surprise, and it's Sarah Rice and Fessy. That would be, it's hard to pick really good competitors when 40 of them are already on the season, but those two I think would work great. I would like to see mercenaries. Next one, third of the Era 4 related hopes. I hope all the annoying random shit that these new kids have to deal with, but that the old folks haven't, a bunch of it shows up. And again, I can't believe I'm saying this, but like things like the hopper or the algorithm, or now you're in teams, now you can switch, screw it. All of it. I hope that they can do it. And, I'm only half kidding about this one, but the one I'm definitely not kidding about is really letting them turncoat, because that would be really fun with this group. And I'm in on that. It worked really well on War of the Worlds 2. They've done a bunch of team switching since then. That doesn't always work very well. But I think with these particular groups and the whole era dynamics, I do think doing a turncoat, switch teams after you win an elimination scenario would be pretty interesting with this group. So I hope all these new kids get to laugh at some of the older folks on, they're not all that different in age, but time-wise, in the era-wise of the show, the younger to the older folks here get to do a little laugh of like, oh, you guys have never seen an algorithm before, huh? You've never seen the hopper before? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, this is what we deal with. This is the crazy, silly game that we play and that you never had to go about doing. Next one. I would really like to see Jenny and Rachel Robinson become besties and talk about how they each smoked the boys in their individual final wins, Total Madness and Duel 2. That would be great. I hope TJ gets to drive some cool vehicles for the dailies and for the finals. I've loved in recent seasons the more they've let him, drive this in just to make an entrance for the daily challenge. Drive this during the final. Just drive. Here's an ATV. Just follow along. Drive on the ATV. I hope he gets plenty of toys to play with. And final Era 4 related hopes. I hope there are references to Emmanuel, who is the new champion that they crowned and then didn't bring for this season. I hope Jay, Fessy, and then Chris and Desi from USA 2 and Joss, among others. All of them, I think, deserve a reference on this season. And now the final ones. Dailies and eliminations that I would like to see happen, and then we'll get to our actual predictions here. Dailies. This is just a long list. This is just all encompassed in one hope or wish. Big hopes for Mud Wrestle musical chairs, something like what we saw, like the start of Fresh Meat 1 or Fresh Meat 2, excuse me. Blindfolded or not blindfolded, we've seen lots of different versions of mud, wrestle in the mud, kind of musical chair style. Last one to get something is eliminated. I want to see that. Something in airplanes. I know they're not going to do Red Baron again from the Gauntlet, but it's maybe the greatest daily challenge ever. Put them in airplanes. Sounds fun. Do a roller derby. We said that. Do a pop culture bike jump. We said that. The thing Bananas and Abe did on Bloodlines where they had to swim down underwater into the little air tanks underwater, do that again. Anything in the ocean at night, I would love to see them just have to be in the ocean at night. I think it always just, the setting is amazing. And then the hold the weight under the water and pass it to your partner from Fresh Meat 2 that Landon and Carly won. That was super cool and is definitely one I would like to see again. As for eliminations, it's pretty straightforward and easy. I need the big four, which the big four in my mind are Not So Fast, which I think is the best elimination game ever made and is my favorite ever made. They have to play Not So Fast, and they have to do the three headbangers, which would be Balls In, Pole Wrestle, and Hall Brawl. We see Pole Wrestle and Hall Brawl in the trailer. Not concerned. I do hope they don't skip out on Balls In, and I definitely hope they don't skip out on Not So Fast. Those four just have to be there. Those are the staples. But then I would also love to see Hog Tie, which is the one Leroy smokes everyone in on Rivals or X's, whichever season that was. They've used it a few times. You're hanging upside down from the log and you have to shimmy down to one end and back. I would love to see Name That Coconut, which was trivia mixed with wrestling from the Gauntlet 2. And finally, I would love to see them put Back Up Off Me out there while Bananas is still there and give the flashback. Maybe he has a chance to even go in and do it. Would love to see a flashback to the Bananas backpack. And now finally, we're 28 or whatever in. We've got 12 more, and those will be our finalist predictions and our winners' picks. So for the finalist predictions, I'm going with 10. As usual, it's just kind of the standard number to predict for a final. Whether it'll be less or more, who knows? And there's no way they're just sticking to the teams the whole way and it's going to be like two of you from each era make it. So I'm not picking exclusively one man, one woman from each era to make the final here. That would only be 8 people to begin with. I am picking 10 people of anyone from any team because I think at some point they will be broken out into teams and individuals and pairs and all other kinds of formats and formulations. So here we go. Let's start with the women. I think Jenny is going to make the final. I feel really good about her chances to make the final. And I think my girl, Michelle, yes, mostly this is just me hoping and wishing, but I'm going to, I got to put a couple subjective picks in there as well as the objective who's got the best odds. I like Michelle to make it. I think Tori makes it. I think Rachel makes it. And I think Laurel makes it. And so I think we got a pretty stacked female final half there. Jenny, Michelle, Tori, Rachel, Laurel. That's who I'm going with on the women's side. On the men's side, I'm going Paulie, Jordan, Darrell, Bananas, and Corey Wharton. I think I like Corey making it through. I like Bananas over CT of one of the two is going to make the final. And I like Jordan in there as well in that trio, the real showdown between those three. I think he gets in. I think Darrell is the one that sneaks in from the Era 1 crew that makes it to the end. And then I like Paulie, went out early on USA 2. I like a little redemption here. I like him making a final and stirring shit up in the final and causing a little chaos. Those are my finalist predictions. As for winners, they obviously come from that group. And it's always hard, you make the finalist predictions could be anyone. Anyone can make a final. But then it's like, is that final going to be All Stars 4 final? Is it going to be War of the Worlds 1 final? Those favored different people in a big way. And now that I've made, I got to pick from who I thought would make the final. And if you put Jordan and Jenny in a final, I think they're going to win the final, even versus stacked. Like this final I just laid out is stacked. Any version of any final on this season is going to feel very, very stacked as far as who's in it. I think Jenny and Jordan get it done. The Jays, no relation to the Jay hosting this show, but I've always got, a little extra love for any Jay named folks out there. I think Jenny proves why she should have been continually called every time after she won. Even if she wouldn't have won, she should have been continually called. Great cast member, great competitor. And I think Jordan makes the GOAT debate very interesting by beating out a CT or Bananas and everyone else on this season and earning himself his whatever win this would be for him. How many times has he won now? He's won quite a few times at this point, and adds to the percentage win race that makes things interesting with folks like a Jordan or a Landon or others compared to the 7 wins but in 20 however many seasons for Bananas. You get it. I think Jordan brings it home. I think Jenny brings it home. I think Jenny, Michelle, Tori, Rachel, Laurel, Polly, Jordan, Darrell, Bananas, and Corey are the finalists. Those are the predictions. Those are the wishes. That's 40 of them. That's 40 thoughts on the trailer. That's thoughts on the Eras invite. 48 total predictions because I added the who I think is going to go home. That's the season, Battle of the Eras. Let's all sit back and now hopefully watch and enjoy and relish this amazing, amazing, monumental moment. When I talked with TJ, I made sure we said, this is season 40 of the flagship, but it's season 50 overall, okay? There's been 4 All-Star seasons. There's been 2 USAs. There's been a World Championships. There's been 3 Champs for Stars. As he reminded me, there was Spring Break Challenge. This, in some ways, is the 51st version of this show, and that's not even then counting Australia and UK and Argentina and the upcoming Sweden Challenge that I've seen out there. So, this is huge. It's the longest running franchise on television, in reality television. It's truly amazing. It's truly wonderful. I can't believe we're here, and I can't wait to watch it. So again, tonight, launch special. If it's worth recapping, if it's kind of a real episode, we will do a recap of it. Otherwise, we will be back sometime, hopefully next week, right after the first episode premieres. But again, anyone out there, London, Paris, or just knows how to watch this show outside of the States in general, let me know. DMs are open at Challenge Historian on Instagram, and let me know. But we will be back with recaps as soon as we can. I apologize if that ends up meaning not for a few weeks. That's horrible, and I don't want to do that, but it may be the situation that we are in. Franchise recaps will continue later today. I'm about to go get ready to record one of those right now. So I love you. I thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Until we talk again, peace.